the carbon layer. This is the brown layer, although we have it in the blue box. It's just bits of wood chippings. I'm not suggesting you go out and buy wood chippings from your garden centre or DIY shop. If you get in touch with your local council, they will direct you to an area where you can pick up bags of this stuff for free. If not, get in touch with garden companies or tree felling companies. They will have lots of the stuff and they're happy to give it away. We'll put this carbon layer on top of our nitrogen layer. Bearing in mind we've got several layers underneath here, you have to imagine this. Carbon and nitrogen. I know you're thinking, I'm not going to get all this in a day. You won't. You can get this over weeks, months. Whenever you come across any of this, just pick it up and add it to your Lasagne garden. I think we'll have brown layer, some more carbon. This is just shredded paper. So all your old bills, shred them, put them in. It's a good thing, good way to do with the bills, isn't it? Make compost out of them, grow out of them. So let's put this on top of here. This is nitrogen. Now, yes, you can't actually see what's in here, but take my word for it, it's manure. So I'm not going to take it out of the plastic bag. You're going to have to trust me. This is rabbit manure. Rabbit manure is excellent for this sort of thing because it composts quite quickly. Don't use cat or dog poo, anything like that. Use horse, I nearly said horseradish. Use horse. Don't use horseradish poo, you won't get much. Use horse, pig, goat, pigeon, chicken. So we start a new one. This is an excellent source of carbon. It's dead leaves. I got in touch with the council and asked them if they could let me have some dead leaves. They have piles of the stuff and they suggest just come along to help yourself. If your council is not so helpful, perhaps you can get in touch with local garden companies, tree felling companies. They're bound to have lots of leaves. In the autumn, you could put a small advert in your local shop window. Lots of people will be trying to get rid of their leaves. You have bags of the stuff. Put this on here. Bearing in mind, all this is stacked. We're not having separate layers. They're all on top of each other, including the layer of grass earlier, the layer of coffee, seaweed. It's all underneath, all being composted down. As you're putting each layer on, the layer underneath is reducing all the time. The worms are eating their way through and they're doing the job for you. So we have a brown layer. In the meantime, you come across the missing socks. More brown layer. Perhaps a bit more grass, nitrogen, the green layer. In here we have some sawdust. So I'm not going to take it off because it's quite dusty. But you have to take my word for it. This is just sawdust. And I'll put this on top. Just got some more coffee. Some more seaweed. Old towels. Now, you're thinking, my goodness, this will be up to the ceiling. Well, I don't want to build Mount Everest in my back garden. I'm not asking you to. It won't be like that. I know what you're thinking, or some of you. This is going to be miles high. I'll end up with Mount Everest in my back garden, with coachloads of mountaineers knocking at my door, with an army of Sherpas carrying ropes and crampons. No, you won't, because it will all reduce down. You'll end up with a very small mound of very rich compost, all fluffy and just waiting for you to use it. It does take some time, I must admit. If you get to one layer you think, that's enough now. I suggest it would be the brown layer. all the nitrogen and carbon underneath is composting down and turning into rich compost, and you think, okay, I'm going to stop now. So you put a hole in your carbon, put your plants in as normal, and they will just grow, they'll thrive. There's a couple of drawbacks, I must admit. One, it takes several months before it actually starts to drop down. The layers could get to about 3 feet, and they don't always look particularly attractive, especially if you've got lots of carrots sort of sticking at the top and bits of old turnip. If that's the case and you think, oh, that looks dreadful, just put a sheet of plastic over it. It doesn't have to be this thick. Each layer can be as thin or as thick as you have, depending on how much material you have. It's entirely up to you. So at the end of it, you'll have rich compost. It will be weed free. Your grass underneath will no longer be sticking through. Your patchy grass won't be patchy anymore, and your poor stony ground will be beautiful compost. It's a wonderful way of creating lovely garden, but it takes some time.